Thank you everybody for coming. I really appreciate the chance to have you hear from our students and as well as our interim dean of the College of Arts and Letters. So welcome. What I'd like to do is I'm going to open it up by inviting in our interim dean, McClish, to say a few things about the college and give you a brief overview. And then I'll explain how we're going to operate our student panel. Very briefly before we get started, I would like to ask that everybody please mute your microphone if you are not speaking, just to try to reduce the background noise and interference. And if you're having any trouble with any of the technology, feel free to just message in the chat and we'll try to help you get that sorted out. So, Dean McClish, would you like to say a few words and introduce students to the college?
I would love to do so. I'm actually not sitting today in front of Hepner Hall. I wish I were, but you can see that beautiful backdrop there of my favorite campus building. I'm actually at home because we're all at home these days, and you may see a cat fly by, or perhaps someone in the house will raise their voice any minute from now. But this is real. This is the real thing, and we are doing our best with our isolation in place. So we're making do. But I realize these are uncertain times for us, and we all wonder about the future. But San Diego State University has been serving students since 1997, students in San Diego and state of California and the world, and we're going to be here a long time. So we're here to educate students. We're here for you in the fall, and we hope that will be your destination. So a university like San Diego State is made up of a number of colleges. It's a huge university, has colleges that group majors and disciplines. And one of those colleges is the College of Arts and Letters at San Diego State, where we house the humanities and the social sciences and the foreign languages as well. And your majors, for the most part, I believe, fall in those areas. So all the majors at San Diego State that are in the humanities or social science or languages are grouped with us. So what's a dean, right? Well, a dean is kind of like the principal of the college, the principal, the head administrator, the person who tries to hold together the college and to lead it forward, to solve its problems and to provide some vision for its programs. So as dean, I am in effect the principal of this college. Cal's specific mission is to educate students broadly, to think creatively about the challenges of the 21st century, to learn good critical thinking skills, analytical skills, communication skills, to work across cultures, and to work in diverse teams. So our majors are not so much technical training for a specific job as training for life, as training for lifelong learning for all kinds of work and for all kinds of thinking about the world, about humanity, about all issues that pertain to being an educated person in the 21st century. And it's interesting because if you look at so many jobs that we have out in the world, they have been responses to the way in which culture and life have changed. There's a good chance that the jobs that you eventually will have aren't even invented yet because our society is changing so quickly. And therefore, general training in good critical thinking skills, good communication skills, to work with other people, solve problems, work across cultures, those skills are the ones that are most important to you as you begin your working life. Technical training can always be learned, but if you have those general skills of thinking and working with people, you'll always be employable. And we find that people in the humanities and social sciences do very well in life as they gain experience and begin to work through their careers. So our college is very large. It has 36 majors in those areas I mentioned, and many are located in departments, but some are interdisciplinary. And some of our most important and interesting majors these days are majors like international business and international security and conflict resolution and sustainability. Majors that really bring together multiple disciplines. These are really exciting. We have ethnic and gender studies, a whole variety of areas that are interdisciplinary. Speaking subjectively, I think we have the most passionate, dedicated faculty in the university. Our faculty love to teach. They care a lot about students. They care a lot about the training you're getting and how it will change your life and make you a better worker, a more activated citizen, and a richer human being. A number of our majors, like the ones I mentioned, ISCOR, International Security and Conflict Resolution and Sustainability, are very customizable. So you can shape that major to fit your interests. Lots of choices with electives. We don't have many majors that have lockstep prerequisites, one after the other. Our programs are designed so that you can have maximum exploration and really develop the kinds of topics that you want to build into those majors. Our majors encourage a lot of high impact practices like study abroad, internships, service learning, and undergraduate research. These are all areas where you can get involved in beyond the classroom. I think these are very important because then your education becomes a little more your own and you can develop it for your own interests and expertise. And of course, the best reason why you should come to Cal is because my son goes there. My son's one of the panelists today. He's a history major, he's a junior, and he had lots of choices across the state of California. We went to visit a lot of schools, he got into a lot of schools, and he chose San Diego State. His younger brother, we're not sure about. We're not sure about him yet. He's looking at some schools up and down the state, but Roger made a good choice, and I think his choice speaks well to our family's dedication to San Diego State. So with that introduction, I'll turn the floor over to our panelists.
Great, and I'll actually just give a little bit of background as to how we're going to do this panel. And I realize I forgot to introduce myself at the beginning. My name is Carrie Sable. I'm the Assistant Dean for Student Affairs in the College of Arts and Letters, and I have the real distinct pleasure to get to work with our fantastic student panelists and hopefully all of you on a regular basis. So I want to thank those of you who did submit questions in advance for our panelists. That was really helpful, and so we're going to start with your questions. And I know, of course, that we won't be able to get to all of the questions. So if you did submit a question that doesn't get answered during this session, don't fear. We will reach out to you directly by email within the next 24 to 48 hours to answer those questions. And then after this session is over, I will make sure to leave in the chat section my email address. If you have additional questions once this is over, please feel free to follow up with me directly. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and let our panelists introduce themselves. So we have 6 student panelists. Let's see, Dustin, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Dustin Adkins. I am a senior here at San Diego State University, so my 4th year, and I'm double majoring in economics and sociology with an emphasis in public policy. And I'm originally from Grover Beach, California, which is a little bit outside of San Luis Obispo.
Great, thanks, Dustin. I see Jana. So Jana, do you want to introduce yourself next?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Jana. I'm a 3rd year English major at San Diego State. Even though it's my 3rd year, it's also my last year because I've been working to graduate a year early. So I'm excited about that. And I come from San Antonio, Texas.
And Roger, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Roger McClish. I'm a 3rd year history major, and I'm also in the Honors College, and I am from San Diego.
Thanks, Roger. How about Sophia?
All right, guys, my name is Sophia Matthews. I'm a 3rd year student, political science major, history minor, and I'm out of state, actually. I'm from a town called Bellingham, Washington, just outside of Seattle, if you know where that is.
Thanks, Sophia. Emily?
Hi everyone, my name is Emily Olamendi Smith. I am a third year international security and conflict resolution major, and my emphasis is in global justice. I am a San Diego native, but more specifically in Chula Vista.
Great, thank you. And then Taylor, who I saw here, but I'm having trouble finding on my screen. So Taylor, if you're here, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. My name's Taylor Campbell Mosley. I'm a fourth year graduating. I'm studying geography, emphasis environmental and physical sciences with a minor in leadership. And I'm from Glendale, Arizona, which is where the Cardinal Stadium is.
Great, thank you all. And then of course I want to add that Dean McClish is also one of our panelists as well, speaking from both the perspective of a parent and also a longtime professor of the college. And so he may be able to give us some unique perspectives on top of our student panelists. So let's go ahead and start in with some questions. So thinking back to the start of choosing a college, which is where many of our audience members are, what factors were most important to you when deciding on a college? And feel free to answer in any order you'd like.
Okay, I can go. So the first thing that like popped into my head was location because geography, but I wanted to go somewhere where I could do things outside of the campus. So San Diego is a great city outside of just this campus. There's a lot to do, and we're really connected because we have a transit system that's right on campus. You can get places with buses and trolleys. Also, I wanted to go somewhere where there's a lot of like just options of things to do. So we have like over 300 clubs. So that really stood out to me in all the campuses. The architecture, if you've had a chance to walk around our campus yet or take a virtual tour, like I just really love the feel of the campus. And then I always like to say, like, since I've gone to campus and I've been here for years, what I've come to love about this university is that the dean was right, and Carrie Sable, that we have just like really dedicated staff and faculty. So I feel just like walking around that you see people who want to support you, whether it's staff, faculty, your friends you met in residence halls, or your classmates. I just feel like there's a lot of people here who really want to like personally help you and see you go your own route.
For me, I would have to say I chose San Diego State because it has such a specialized major, which was my major is core, international security and conflict resolution. And when I was looking into colleges I wanted to go to, of course, there were some I wanted to go to upstate, there's some out of state. For me personally, it's close to home. I loved the major. I think I guess it was Explore SDSU, and we were going into we were meeting our advisors, and I met my advisor to my major, which is his name is Professor Alan Greb, and he was telling me all about the major and how interesting it is and how important it is to learn about international security, especially right now. And I just kind of decided, well, I like the location; it's home basically. Um, the major sounds super interesting, and that's why I wanted to come here.
For me, I would say that also location was a big factor in me ultimately choosing San Diego State to be the college I would kind of devote my life to for the next 3 or 4 years. And seeing as I'm from San Antonio, Texas, San Diego is like vastly different in a lot of ways, like culture and climate and pretty much everything. So I really wanted something that was very different and would kind of maybe push me out of my comfort zone and help me get away from something that I was so used to, like I was back home. So San Diego State also offers a really diverse student body, and that's something that I was also really craving because at least in the neighborhood that I grew up in, it was all pretty uniform, kind of like everybody knew each other, and I really wanted to go somewhere and meet people with different experiences, like completely different than my own. And I think SDSU in particular really does a good job of that because we have a really great international student body as well, because SDSU really prides itself in pushing students to travel abroad. And also we are a big campus where international students study here as well. So you meet a wide range of different people from different areas of the world. And I think that's just really interesting. And I think one big thing that also swayed me into just choosing it as well was I was also accepted into the Weber Honors College. And that's kind of what made the ultimate decision between here, and I was also tied between UCSD. And UCSD didn't have a honors college for any of their undergrads, and SDSU does. So I just thought that having this kind of acceptance at this school would give me a leg up and kind of challenge me in a different way. So.
Something that I really thought about was,
Sorry.
oh, I'm sorry. I can go. You were trying before.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Good.
Am I okay? I was just gonna bounce off of that last point and say that I think the biggest thing for me too was also diversity. Similar situation, out-of-state student coming from a smaller, more uniform town, and I'm not sure how many of you know, but San Diego State is actually holds one of the most diverse student populations in the whole country, and that's always just fascinated me. I wanted to be around that kind of environment where I know a lot of us think of diversity in terms of like ethnicity or race, and we have that, but it goes beyond that into just like ideas and backgrounds and just the amount of conversations I've been able to have with people and having your own ideas challenged, and especially within the field of interest that I'm studying in terms of like systemic injustice and oppression and everything, like just being able to talk to people that have such different perspectives, that's just been the biggest thing for me. So diversity for sure has been key.
What I've thought about, in addition to academics, was just could I see myself living here and enjoying living here for 4 years? Because the academics are obviously very important, but it's not just that, and especially if you are out of state or out of area, will be living here. And so, is this somewhere where are the food options good? Are the housing options good? Do you like being on campus? That kind of thing. Because, I mean, the academics are obviously very important, but if you just focus on that, you'll end up spending potentially 4 years or more if you do graduate school at a place you don't really like. And that seemed like a real thing I really wanted to be wary of. So I really took into account not just academics, but how do I feel being here, and could I see myself living here for some sort of period of time?
I agree. Kind of going off that a little bit. I'd actually never been to San Diego before I came down for Explore, which is surprising because where I grew up is only a couple hours north of LA, but I had never been. And I came down for Explore and walked around the campus and really enjoyed not just the campus itself, but everyone who I met was so inviting and so willing to help. And that was something that I thought was actually unique about San Diego State, because I had visited other campuses before. I was actually a part of the AVID program in high school. So I toured a lot of schools, and San Diego State just happened to be one of the schools I didn't get to tour. And I didn't feel that way on a lot of other campuses. So I felt that this was a unique place where not only could I develop myself academically, but I could really grow and prosper as a person, whether it be professionally, socially, like I said, academics, et cetera. And I think that's really true about the university and unique to what we have here.
Wow, thanks. That was a great start. And a number of you mentioned the campus. I'm sorry that we aren't able to do this from the campus with all of you there today. But nonetheless, I'm really glad you were able to join us. So a second question we have is, why did you choose your major? And what do you study as part of that major? Because some of these majors are, might be new to many of the students on the call. Not everybody has to answer, but feel free to jump in.
So I chose my major, which is English and Comparative Literature. I applied as an English major, and I remain as an English major, and I will graduate as an English major. So it's something that I'm deeply devoted to. And maybe it sounds very cliche to say that I'm passionate about it, but I really am. And I was kind of grappling with that during the college application process as a high school senior, was, thinking about, well, English is like such a soft skill. Like it's, you grow up with this narrative that these soft skills are not, that you can't really capitalize off them, that you can't build a sustainable career off them. And I got to a point where I thought that you know, I'm going to invest my college years and all this money and all this time into something that I know I'm good at, and that it's a skill that I'm entirely willing to cultivate, and that I can apply to a wide variety of different careers and different fields as well. And so I think that's one of the beautiful things about the College of Arts and Letters, like what Dean McClish said, that whenever you study anything in the College of Arts and Letters, that is the social sciences and the humanities, you're investing your time and your money in a skill that you can apply to a wide variety of a wide range of different disciplines and different careers that you may go through in your lifetime. And I think that's something that you need to take into consideration. And so it just allows you this well-roundedness and this flexibility. And one thing that I love about being an English major in particular is they especially train you in how to approach a different variety of texts in a very analytical and a very critical eye, and to derive any arguments from that and how to articulate it well to another person. So having those skills is so fundamental to just being a good worker in any sort of career or field that you go into. And so that's kind of my reasoning behind why I chose and why I stay with English.
I can go next. I chose my major, if I'm being completely honest, kind of on a whim. When I was applying to San Diego State, I was looking through the majors that they were offering, and I was really questioning like what I wanted to do, where I saw myself in 10 years. I knew for a fact I wanted to be an international lawyer. Um, and I didn't realize that like the College of Arts and Letters had the ISCOR program, because ISCOR is a very specialized program in San Diego State. Like other colleges have international relations, international business, but this was a very like specialized program. So when I was looking through, I was like, oh, this seems super interesting. And I read up on the program and I started to look more into it. And when I went to, like I said before, Explore SDSU, it was very like enlightening and enriching. And I realized that I just thoroughly enjoy it. And even after 3 years, I'm not bored of it. It's amazing. And especially what I'm specializing in, which is global justice, where it focuses on certain aspects to security. Like right now, I'm in ISCOR 421, which is conflict resolution, and I just absolutely love it. We're learning about conflict resolution and how it mediates mediation and how it goes to international scale.
I'll go next because, hi. Okay, so I'm excited about this question. So again, I study geography. I came in, or I applied to the school as a psychology major. By the time I got here, I wanted to try something else. So my first semester, I took computer science classes, different college, did a year of that, decided that wasn't for me. And why I study geography is because I'm super passionate about sustainability, and I came across that in a general studies course. So I highly recommend to use those kind of outside of your major opportunities to explore things that are interesting to you. So anyways, because I'm interested in sustainability, I kind of looked in my general catalog. Again, TIFF, highly recommend searching up SDSU general catalog to kind of read through all the different major options that we had. And I kind of compared majors that had to do with the environment or the environment in society. And I came across geography in the College of Arts and Letters, and we have a few different emphases, such as like humans in the environment, humans in society, geographic information systems, and then minds of the environment and physical sciences. And so like what geography is, first of all, like I didn't really know that was a major option. To be like when first looking at colleges, I can only really think of like the main ones like chemistry, biology, like pre-law. Like I really like there's so many to choose from, especially in the College of Arts and Letters. And I really enjoy geography. It's basically similar to what a lot of our other panelists are studying, but a really like global view of things. And it just deals with looking at humans' relationship with the earth, really, whether that's society, the environment, and it deals with, to give you an idea, some classes I've taken have been like politics of food or food justice, climate change, conservation science and policy, cities, geography of Europe, GIS, remote sensing, hydrology. So there's a lot to choose from. And I'm excited to end with the College of Arts and Letters. I think with geography and a lot of the majors, there's a lot of study abroad opportunities. And because it's so interdisciplinary, they can like make it work for whatever type of program you want to do. So I've been really happy that I found this major and that there is such a wide variety of class topics to choose from. And now I'm ready to graduate and keep working on sustainability. So yeah, and if anyone has any like questions throughout, throw them in the little chat thing. But yeah.
Thanks. So not to not get to the others, but let me go ahead and ask the next question. And if you want to come back to that, feel free. Question, a number of you kind of addressed the flexibility of your majors in terms of looking at careers. So what career path are you looking at with your Cal major? And if you have any plans for graduate school or particular jobs after college, please feel free to jump in with those.
So I plan on going to, I am taking a gap year, so I should say that, but I do plan on applying to the PhD in literature program at UCSD, and I want to continue with thinking about literature in different ways, and they have a, UCSD has a PhD in literature program with an emphasis on gender and sexuality, and ultimately my plan with that is to become an English professor myself. So I've always been very devoted to the academic environment. I've always loved school, and I know I belong in it. So that's my ultimate, career. But as of right now, I'm also a revisions editor for an academic publishing company based here in San Diego. So for my gap year, I am going to work full time at that. So I think, like what I was saying earlier about having an English major, is that you can apply it to a wide variety of different disciplines, some of which that maybe like the connection between having an English major and having your actual career, the connection there might be a little bit convoluted or might be a little bit, maybe not as like concrete as maybe like being an English major and being an editor at a publishing company, but it is still feasible, because in any case, you're still learning how to create arguments and communicate and articulate things to people. Yeah, those are just my personal plans.
Okay, does anyone?
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. No, go ahead, Taylor, go ahead.
No, I don't have solid plans yet. So if anybody did, but I would like to go to graduate school. I'm not planning to go directly right now, so that's an option. You don't have to go directly after your undergrad, but I'd like to go for environmental policy and management, and so that gives an insight into what I want to do. So I guess to answer the question, the things that I've been applying to, mostly full-time jobs, have been like the positions are things like sustainability manager, sustainability analyst, environmental planner, environmental analyst, things like that. And you can do that for public entities such as a university. You can do it, or like a nonprofit. And then there's also private opportunities with businesses, both small and large. So I guess I really want to test out both the like kind of public and private side of things, but in some way help with sustainable policies and implementations, and then see where we go from there, get more education, and then probably have a better idea. But yeah.
I can go next. So just backtracking a little bit, like I mentioned, I'm a political science major. I went into SDSU as political science, and I've stuck with it ever since. I've just always been very interested in law and systems of government and activism and people. And for those of you that don't know, political science is very interdisciplinary. You can kind of navigate it based on your interests, whether that's diplomacy and law, policy and government, strategy and war, ideology, philosophy, behavior of people. You can really, there's a lot of things you can do with it. personally, I want to go into law. As mentioned before, I'm very between wanting to do like international humanitarian kind of work. So I don't know if any of you, like the UN, for example, that's a commonly known one, or potentially working within the United States for an NGO like the ACLU, working with like civil rights and human rights and people again. Yeah, that's me. So.
Okay. I liked this question that somebody submitted in advance. How have your experiences in the classroom and lecture halls contributed to the world around you and maybe contributed to your understanding of the world around you?
I can go on this one. So I'm actually in a health economics class right now, which is pretty interesting because, as we all know, we're in a global pandemic. So it's an unfortunate situation, but my teachers and my professor has really been able to help kind of explain a lot of what's happening and help us digest it as it's happening, whether it be through the lectures and through general notes and all of that. So that's something unexpected that I never saw coming from this class, but at the same time, it's been really helpful for me to be able to digest and really understand the situation that's happening. And when people are saying, oh, well, what about this economic policy and how is this going to affect, like the stimulus package coming out from the government? These are things that we're working through as a class to try to understand why these things are happening and our response. So that's just one pretty topical example of how it's been pretty relevant to the world today.
Great example, Dustin. Anybody else want to answer that one?
I'll say that, yeah, I don't necessarily think that I've had like one, at least not yet, one kind of revolutionary experience that's totally like altered the way I see the world. But just definitely everything I picked up in any and all of my classes, you learn a lot in every single class. And so I couldn't maybe pick out one thing. It's, just in looking at the news or trying to understand politics or anything in the world around you, you'll remember everything like, oh yeah, I know why that's happening because I remember this, idea I heard in class or this concept. So it's, to me, it's not just one discrete thing, but it's just, I feel like I understand how the world works a lot more than I did, was it 3 years ago when I came in? So.
Thanks, Roger. Anybody else want that address that one, or should we go on to the next? Okay.
What was the question again? The thing that stood out the most?
Sure, yeah. How have your experiences in the classroom and lecture halls contributed to the world around you or contributed to your understanding of the world around you?
Okay. I'll just answer that one, try to quickly, but specifically, or it sounds like arts, like all of our majors in arts and letters kind of have this too, but just kind of a world view. So whether it was economics or international security or geography, not just like the economics here, but it helps you understand everything around the world as well, because as we can see with what's occurring, it's all connected. So I'd say, like, yeah, that my academics have helped me, those specific courses, to analyze what's going on around me. I think it's a good start to learn some professional skills by keeping in contact with your professors and just going to office hours and learning to do that with someone who's, maybe possibly older than you, and learning to build those connections. And yes, I think those two. I don't want to say something someone already did, but thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Taylor. So my next question has sort of multiple parts, so you can decide which part you want to address. But again, some questions from that were submitted in advance. So what is your favorite activity to do on campus? And what kinds of opportunities have you been involved in outside the classroom? How have those enriched your experience as an SDSU student?
So I'll go first. I'm involved in a lot of different leadership positions that are associated with the College of Arts and Letters. I'm editor-in-chief of an undergraduate research journal for the College of Arts and Letters called Splice. And I'm also an associate editor for Pacific Review, which is an art and poetry publication that is published by the San Diego State University Press, which is housed in the College of Arts and Letters. And I'm also in the English Honors Program, which is a specific honors program within the English department. And that one is an English in the honors program where students who are interested in graduate study or who want a little bit more of a rigorous understanding of a particular emphasis or area of study within the English department can kind of flex their research and their graduate study muscles and see what serious research is really like. So with all of these positions, I feel like I've become so entrenched in the College of Arts and Letters because I'm constantly talking with and just making good connections with my professors and my faculty advisors. And through the editor-in-chief position, I know that me and Carrie have actually gotten very close with kind of just bouncing other connections off of each other. And with the associate editor position for Pacific Review, I've made a really good connection with Dr. Bill Noricchio. He's the director of the press. And so as you can see through any of all these clubs that you make with the College of Arts and Letters, it allows you to cultivate these really close relationships with these good people, these faculty members at the College of Arts and Letters who are there to help you and who want to impart their wisdom and their expertise onto you because they see that you're passionate and they see that this is something that you're as committed to as they are.
I can go next on that. So I'm also involved in quite a few different organizations and clubs on campus, but I would have to say that one of my favorites is Rotaract of SDSU, which I very much recommend that you guys look into and try to get involved in. It's my favorite. For those of you that don't know, it's a service-based organization. So we just do a lot of community service work locally in San Diego. For example, we all participate in something called Miracle League, which we run baseball games for children with disabilities, or there's Tijuana Home Build, where we're raising money and awareness throughout the year. And then in the end, we're all personally driving to Tijuana, Mexico and building a home for a family in need down there. So that's been really fun. Honestly, that's been my family away from home. I love everyone in that organization. So I really recommend getting involved in that if you can.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit too. So like Sophia, I'm also involved in Rotaract of SDSU and associated students as well. And then there's a couple other things. So throughout my time at SDSU, I've been able to hold a few different, I'm sorry, my cat's meowing if you hear that. I've been able to hold a couple different leadership roles, including being the current Vice President of Financial Affairs for associated students. And last year I was the Vice President of Finance for Rotaract of SDSU, and just a couple other roles in different organizations. And that's really what made my experience at SDSU and continues to make my experience. Because when I first came, I wasn't a local student, obviously. And so when you go to make friends, you can make friends in the dorms and in the res halls, and I still have those friends. But at the same time, when it came to sophomore year and further, I was kind of coming home and wasn't doing too much. And I needed something to fill my time that was making me better, but also something that I could find people that had similar interests with. And that's what I was able to find within associated students and within Rotaract and my other involvements. And that's where I have some of my best friends now, is within those organizations. So it's really made SDSU what it is to me, as well as at the same time helping me develop as a person in all different ways. So I remember back in high school, they used to always tell me get involved. And I was like, oh yeah, once I get to college, I'm not doing anything. And then we ended up getting really involved in college. But I would say do the same to you, because that's what's going to make your experience.
I can also speak a little bit on that. Currently, right now, I am the Cal Chair for my club, which is Explore Student Society. And beforehand, I used to be a secretary on Circle K, which is a service club. And I personally think that joining clubs at SDSU is a great way to meet new people. Talking on the Cal side, I go to the meetings every Friday, and it's honestly so much fun because I get to see so many other clubs, how they're doing. Sometimes I go attend other clubs, and it's a great way to meet new people.
If I could say two, if that's okay. One was just kind of as a not a counter, but as a something a little different than what people have been saying with clubs. I think certain clubs are very good, and there's also a lot of good things, events that happen on campus. But I've also had a lot of just fun, and maybe it's just because I'm kind of more of a stay-at-home person. But I lived in the dorms for 2 years, and I had a lot of fun just doing, interacting with people there. On the weekends, someone will bring out a video game console, and you have game night, and you stay up too late playing games. So I mean, it sounds simple, but honestly, like those would have that's some of the fondest memories I've had in my 2 years here. And then the second, not a little more academic, but the school puts on very good like guest lectures. They have guest lecturers come and certain speakers, and they're always very interesting. I've listened to a lot of lectures that have just been from very highly qualified academics, but also uh, famous people too. We've had Daniel Ellsberg here, who leaked the Pentagon Papers in the Vietnam War, and we've also had Chelsea Manning, and I was able to go to both those talks, the panels. So that was a really interesting experience to see someone like that who you read about, and it's happened twice, and I it should be happening more. So that's a very unique experience as well.
I think just to close on everything here, unless someone else has something to say, I think SDSU really just offers a club for everyone, an organization for everyone, whether it's going to sporting events or we always have speakers on campus, as Roger just said, like just reaching out and, I don't know, following all these Instagram pages, there's always something going on. And I remember as a freshman, just showing up, you're going to find people that have similar interests as you. And like whether you go and maybe it wasn't fun, but you'll find something else that was interesting after all. And yeah, I don't know, just keeping your doors open, like going to things. And freshmen, you're all in the same boat. You're all trying to meet people. You're all trying to find your little niche on campus. So I would really recommend just going to everything. That's what I did.
Great, thanks everybody. Turning a little bit to a different topic, how do you feel supported as a student within the College of Arts and Letters? And have you had the chance to connect with, particular professor, an advisor, staff person, or a fellow student that's really made your experience meaningful? And I'd love to, if Dean McClish would jump in at some point here too and share his perspective as a parent of a student within the college.
I know I mentioned it before, but Carrie is like one connection that I've had for quite a while. We go way back. I think we met when we were actually in the Explore Cal 100 class, where there was a class that was a brief overview of the College of Arts and Letters. And that's actually where I found out about the information for SPLICE, the undergraduate research journal there. And ever since then, we've always just kept in touch because of SPLICE or because of one thing or another. Which I really appreciate. She's become a really great resource and a really great friend. And another person, I know, another person who I really appreciate is, I mentioned him before, Dr. Bill Noricchio. He is the director of the SDSU Press, and it's the press that also prints the journal that I work for. And I really appreciate him because he's also been a very good, dependable person. And he kind of helps me balance the workload with being editor-in-chief of an undergraduate research journal, which it can get quite hectic and quite overwhelming sometimes. So having someone who is a little bit more informed with like the formal process of publishing and editing, who can help kind of guide me through it as well, really helps. And I think overall I can like name at least 2 or 3 other professors who I've just gotten really close to over the years. What Dean McClish said at the beginning when he was introducing the College of Arts and Letters, he said that the professors in the College of Arts and Letters are probably the most passionate and the most caring. And I think I can really agree with that, because anytime you walk into the College of Arts and Letters, like their office doors are always open, they're always there and always willing to talk to you. I don't think I've ever had really a hugely negative or bad experience with any of my main professors, which I'm entirely grateful and lucky for. And so I think that we're all just really lucky to have such great leaders and professors who are so willing to work with us. And that's something that's so rare, especially at a college as San Diego State University, which is, as you know, a student body as big as ours. A lot of professors maybe don't really care to pay that much attention to us or really take the time to listen to our needs or our questions. So I think that we're all just really lucky and grateful for that.
I'm happy to jump in here a little bit too. Our college is one of the few that really emphasizes faculty advisors. And in most of our majors, faculty advise students academically. We take great pride in this, and we really are working to continue to have faculty advising students. But we also have staff advisors, and Carrie's office is really good at advising students on issues that go beyond their majors, larger issues that are academic. So I think advising is a real strength in terms of supporting students. We really make a lot of effort to keep students from falling through the cracks, and also just helping students to succeed in their major and in their career plans. So advising is very, very strong throughout the college. It's nice to feel like beyond your instructors, there's a person who's looking out for you to help you plan your coursework, to think about your career after college, to think about graduate school. All these things can be really supported through academic advising.
I can talk. Thank you. That was really covered everything really well. And going off of advising, because that was the main points that I was going to talk about. One from the College of Arts and Letters, Carrie again has been kind of a big supporter for myself and the other staff in the college, such as Michelle and Erica. We met when I was an SDSU ambassador, so they give the campus tours and help out at orientation if that's something any of y'all are interested in. And then from there, I don't know what it was, but I just really liked Carrie, and the whole everyone that I worked with the college for that summer was just really nice. And so it made me feel like I could go back in their office and say hi. And so I continue to do that, just keep in touch. And it's been a few years now, and I've been supported. Sometimes they've reached out to me for certain opportunities, like such as this one, to speak to you all and various things. Just like it's just really cool. You get to talk to people from the university that you might not have got to know. And then I've gotten a letter of recommendation, and if any of you are thinking about, any grad school or fellowships or anything like that. And we've also just had conversations about life, what am I interested in, and kind of just more personal conversations. And then kind of going off, I answered some questions in the chat about really anything. I kind of keep referring to your advisors. So you have your general academic advisors, and then you have your major advisors. So specifically within the college, you can go whatever your major is, you have your own advisor, and they've been really supportive in helping me feel calm about switching my major. I walk in, hey, I wanted to do this. They should be able to walk you through everything. So it's just relieved a lot of anxiety over the academic side of things. They're there to talk to you about career options. They really know all the ins and outs of finding internships for your specific discipline and those study abroad opportunities or whatever it is you want to do. So I highly recommend following advice and seeing your advisors at least once, if not 2 or 3 times a semester. And I think that they can give you a lot of good resources.
I wanted to say about the professors. They're and this may have been said in some capacity already, but they're very engaged. It's not just after class is over that they'll hurry out the door. They'll stick around and talk to people about questions or comments or concepts that people have questions about. And I think that's really good, because a lot of time you have something you want to say to them, or you have a question about the lecture, and they'll stick around often for a while if they as long as they don't have a class right then, talk with you about it. And then also office hours are great too. I've gone to office hours just to ask questions about the lectures, or ask if a professor could look over an assignment I'd turn in. It's not, office hours aren't just for when things go terribly wrong to fix it. They are also for that, but not just for that. And the professors, if you can't make office hours a certain time, like I've had classes during other classes during office hours, so they're always very accommodating. They'll say, just send me an email um, and we can schedule something else. So they're very accommodating, and also if you have like personal issues in your own life, they're very helpful. They, if you have to turn an assignment late, they aren't out to fail you. They really try and help work with you and help you do as well in the class as you possibly can. And from my experience, they've always been very nice and understanding and helpful.
One other small point, I don't want to echo too much what everyone said because they all had amazing responses, but my first semester at SDSU, again, out of state, I didn't know anyone at SDSU, I took the Explore Cal course, which I believe is still available, and it just exposed me to all the fields of study that Cal has to offer, majors, minor certificates. The amazing professors and faculty that, like mentioned, are just incredible and open their doors to you, as well as students that were within Cal, many of them who had majors or interests like mine, and many of them who I still connect with to this day, as a freshman, just connecting and wanting to like go to events or like, hey, like, did you hear about this? So I really recommend that too, to kind of spread out and find your community right away.
That's great. Thanks, everybody. Several students or parents, I'm not sure, but who submitted questions in advance wanted to hear more about the possibility of adding a minor or another major. And I know many of you have a minor or a second major. So if you could speak to what that process looked like for you, has that been feasible? And what value do you feel like that's added to your academic experience?
Yeah, I could talk about that. So like I said, I'm a double major in economics and sociology, and then on top of that, I have an emphasis in public policy. So I actually came in though to SDSU as a general business major because I really did not know what I was doing. And then I took one of the general education classes, which is Economics 101, my first semester freshman year. And I was kind of like assessing my major and just feeling it out. And I realized I didn't really want to be general business. And then second semester, I took a sociology intro class, and I really loved sociology when I took that class. And I was trying to figure out a way like, okay, is there something I can do with business and sociology? And then it dawned on me, I was really interested in economics and I had done well in the class, and I looked at it and realized that I could actually graduate in 4 years with both of those majors. So my second semester freshman year, I switched into the pre-major for both economics and sociology, and then later on added on that public policy emphasis. And I think for me, it's worked out really well because, like I said earlier, with everything going on in the world, both of those majors have been really relevant to what's happening. With the economics, I'm able to kind of see what is the government doing, why are they doing it, and how might this help us? And as I'm graduating, what do I do in the job market and things of that nature? And then sociology really helps me understand, okay, why is society functioning the way that it is? And for me, you need both of those to come together in order to make actual change and to understand a problem. So for sociology, it's really the study of like different social groups and how they interact and the way society is working. So for me, it seemed like a no-brainer. Well, you need to understand the economics, the money, the jobs, all of that behind a region if you want to understand the social problems of the region, whether that be crime, poverty, and housing, education, etc. So they really overlap a lot for me, and that's included in a lot of my classes. We talk about similar things that a lot of people wouldn't realize how much they do overlap. So, and as I'm looking forward into the future in the job market, I'm really interested in basic needs policies. So policy coming out of the government related to food and housing insecurities, and they overlap really well with that. So for me, it worked out, and I'm going to be able to graduate in 4 years. So I definitely say it's doable, it's feasible. And on top of that, it kind of gives me a nice break. I don't spend all day doing econ. I don't spend all day doing sociology. It's like a mix of both. So if you're able to make it work, and I know that you can make it work, I'd recommend looking into it.
I would just add here that because our majors tend to be not too unit heavy, there's more opportunity for double majoring or minoring. Some majors at the university are so intensive and so packed full of classes, it's impossible to do much of anything else. But our majors tend to be more streamlined and more adaptable to customization, and also double majors and majors and minors.
I would say though, still be flex. It's important to be flexible if you want to do a minor. I'm in the honors college, which is technically a minor. And, it has its own classes. And sometimes you have issues, just scheduling and getting all the classes, in a certain order. So it's certainly doable. I don't want to make it seem like it's not, or even that it's like hard. I don't think it is either. But it does require a little bit of flexibility to say, well, if you can't take X class this semester, maybe take a different one. You take X class in another semester or two. So that is just the one caveat. I don't want to make it seem like it's very difficult, because I don't think it is. But that is something to keep in mind. If you have like a really strict, take these classes, graduate in 3 years, it may be hard to do a minor.
Echoing off of what Roger said and what just was brought up a lot before, I think really just having open communication with your advisors from the start and not waiting until the last minute, really, like they're there to help you and they have open doors. And so, yeah, just communicating with them. And if it's something you're interested in from the start, just keeping your doors open, try to knock off as many GEs as you can from the start, because you'll regret that later if you don't. You don't want to be a senior doing like your last GEs when you have something else you'd rather be doing. So, yeah, I recommend that. I think there was something else I was going to say, but yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Well, thank you all. I think those were fantastic questions, fantastic answers. I know that there were many, many other questions. I'm seeing them in the chat that we weren't able to get to. So please do feel free to reach out to me. Somewhere in there I did include my email address. And I hope you do send your questions to me, and we'll follow up as soon as possible and try to address all of those questions. Since we're coming to the end of our time, unfortunately, we're going to have to sort of end our panel there. I want to thank Dean McClish, but all of our student panelists. We're all cognizant of the fact that right now all of our students have just been transitioning to virtual learning. It's been a kind of a challenging week, and so I'm so grateful that our panelists could be here for this presentation today. So thank you very much for your thoughtful responses. And thank you to all of our guests who joined us. I really hope that you learned a bit, something new that you hadn't previously known about the College of Arts and Letters. And we really look forward to having you join us on campus this fall and this summer for orientation. So thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.